Hey to all of you in the Facebook group, Needed Leaders. Welcome to today's Monday or Maxwell Monday video and short lesson. So glad that you all are a part of this Facebook group. So glad that you want to improve your leadership skills. And not just that, but I hope let me do a little straightening there. Hopefully you will want to be a leader, not necessarily having ambitions to be the leader of giant corporations and organizations, unless that's just something you feel led to do, but being a leader in your families, being a leader in your workplace, being a leader among your friends. We need leaders in our nation. So I'm coming to you from a van in a Walmart parking lot. Doesn't that sound intriguing? That reminds me of a Julian Lennon song. Sitting on a pebble by the river, playing guitar. Yes, that really is a song. Julian Lennon really is a singer. He is John Lennon's son. And when he came out as a singer, he sang that song with the chorus line, sitting on a pebble by a river playing guitar. But I am not doing that. I am sitting in a van in a Walmart parking lot, and there's a purpose for it, you'll see. But today we're going to begin every Monday a new chapter from John Maxwell's book. And if this turns out to be backwards, because I am not completely tech savvy, I have some deficiencies. This is the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership that Dr. Maxwell wrote. And so let's begin with the first chapter, and just going to mention it in a short little talk here. The first law, remember, 21 laws of leadership. The first law is called the law of the lid. The lid. See, I have a cup here from, well, I can't advertise. I have a cup here from a restaurant with a lid on it. The law of the lid. Leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. In other words, leadership ability is the lid that determines a person's level of effectiveness. Now, some people might say that leaders are born. I tend to think that there are some naturally born leaders, but for the most part, I think leaders are made. And so if you feel like you don't have a strong leadership ability, in other words, your lid is kind of low, but you'd like to raise it to be more effective, good news, you can do that. You can improve as a leader. And that's what this Facebook page is about. That's what these Monday through Thursday studies will be about. That's what the Friday weekend focus will be on. And oh, by the way, I'm sorry for being absent the last 2 weeks. The Snowmageddon just was had to really focus on other things during that time. But let me begin by just reading a quick, brief story that Dr. Maxwell has in here. This story illustrates the law of the lid. We got to go back to 1930 when two young brothers named Dick and Morris moved from New Hampshire to California, searching for the American dream. They tried to make it in Hollywood, opening a theater, but it didn't work. But their entrepreneurial spirit was not squelched, and they moved over to a city and opened a small drive-in restaurant in Pasadena, California. Drive-in restaurants were starting to become quite frequent back in the mid-30s. And they were very popular. You could drive up, park your car around the restaurant. Car hops would come out with a menu, and then they would bring your food along with silverware on a tray. So Dick and Morris opened up their little restaurant, and it was a great success. They decided to move in 1940 to San Bernardino, 50 miles east of Los Angeles. They built a larger facility, expanded their menu, and eventually annual sales reached $200,000. That's pretty good back in the 40s. They ended up splitting $50,000 in profits every year. In 1948, their intuition told them times were changing, and they made modifications. They got rid of the car hops. They started serving only walk-up customers. They streamlined everything. They reduced their menu and focused on selling hamburgers. They got rid of the plates and glassware and metal utensils and switched to paper products. And they reduced their cost, and the prices they charged to customers also was reduced. They created what they called the speedy service system. The kitchen was like an assembly line where each person focused on service with speed. Their goal was to fill each customer's order in 30 seconds or less. And by the 1950s, they did succeed at this, and their annual revenue hit $350,000. And they split the net profits of about $100,000. Still very good money, really good money in the mid-50s. Who were these brothers? Well, their little restaurant was on the corner of 14th and E Street in San Bernardino. And on the front of their small building, there was a little sign that simply said McDonald's Hamburgers. Dick and Morris McDonald had hit the great American jackpot. And the rest, as they say, is history, right? Wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. This is where the law of the lid comes in. They never went farther because they had weak leadership skills. They were hard workers, but they had weak leadership skills. Now, it was true that they were able to do some things that were cutting edge in the restaurant business, customer service and kitchen organization. They created a new system of food and beverage service. Their talent was very widely known even in the food service circles, that people started to write them and visit them to learn from them. They eventually had a marketing idea. They wanted to franchise restaurants, but that wasn't a new concept. And they liked the idea of franchising because then they could open more restaurants without doing all the work. They were hard workers, they were efficient managers, but they were not leaders. The way that they thought clamped a lid down on what they could do and become. In 1954, they hooked up with a man named Ray Kroc, and Ray was a leader. He struck a deal with the McDonald's brothers in 1955, forming the McDonald's system, which is later now the McDonald's Corporation. He bought the rights to a franchise so that he could use it as a model and prototype to sell other franchises. Then he began to assemble a team to make McDonald's a nationwide entity. He recruited and hired the sharpest people he could find. And as his team grew in size and ability, his people developed additional recruits with leadership skills. Now, in the early years, Kroc sacrificed a lot. But his sacrifice and his leadership paid off. In 1961, for the sum of $2.7 million, he bought the exclusive rights to McDonald's from the brothers. So remember this, 1961, we're talking about 60 years ago from 2021, right? He went ahead and bought the whole kit and caboodle from the brothers for $2.7 million. Now, they made a lot of money in 61, the McDonald's brothers did. But because they weren't effective leaders, look at what they lost out on since 1961. You see, before they sold to Ray Kroc, they were only able, that is the McDonald's brothers, they were only able to sell their concept to just 15 buyers. And only 10 of them actually opened restaurants. On the other hand, Ray Kroc had a high leadership lid. In between 55 and 59, he succeeded in opening 100 restaurants. And 4 years after that, 1963, there were 500 McDonald's. And when this book was written over 20 years ago, there was more than 21,000 McDonald's restaurants in no fewer than 100 countries. And today, according to a Google search that I did, there are 38,695 McDonald's restaurants. 38,695. Why was Mr. Kroc able to do this? Because he had a high leadership lid. Now, we might not be born with strong leadership qualities, but the good news is that we can improve as leaders. And if you have a good work ethic, you're a hard worker, and you try to work hard at whatever you do and do your best, and you're an effective person, the more you increase your leadership ability, the more you will increase your effectiveness. If you have low leadership ability, but you're effective like the McDonald's brothers, you can achieve some measure of success. But if you're an effective person and you have a high leadership lid, a high leadership ability like Ray Kroc, you can be much more effective. And so that's what we're going to be doing as we continue to go through this book, one chapter at a time. And what I'll do is for the rest of this first half of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'll post more things that have to do with leadership ability. Friday through Sunday, I'm going to continue to keep, the focus on the weekend. I forgot what I called it now. Was it Weekend Warrior? I can't remember. But so I hope you're excited about this. Hope you'll join me. One last thing I want to share is, since we're going to have a Maxwell Monday lesson each Monday, and we're going to focus on this starting in March 1st is today. Maxwell has written a lot of books, and there's a lot of these little books, these 101 books. This one is like Teamwork 101, and he's got several of these 101 books, different topics. But I have the complete 101 collection in this volume. And so this is what I'm going to do. This is my giveaway for the month of March. Now, you got a good chance of winning this. There's only 13 members in the group besides me. So, if you want to have a chance to win this, please just send an email to going to go with my regular email address, jeffbings@yahoo.com. Jeff Bings is all one word, no periods in it. Bings is Bengs. jeffbings@yahoo.com. Just email me and put 101 either in the subject line and in your text, or just text 101 to me, and you'll be entered to win the complete 101 collection. And some of the others are Attitude 101, Relationships 101, Equipping 101, Leadership 101, Mentoring 101, and Success 101. And I mentioned Teamwork 101 earlier. So, thanks for joining me. Have a great Monday. Hope your March starts out great. And continue to grow as a leader. And be a leader in whatever situation you're in. Have a great day, and I'll talk with you later. Bye-bye.